Hi, Writing 100 students. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. The purpose of this video is to go over summarizing and paraphrasing. On Monday, I had sent you guys a video where you had to look at the CRAP method of how to evaluate a source when you get it. And now we're going to look at once you've gotten that source and you want to use that information in your uh, essay or in a question that we ask you, you need to know how to summarize and paraphrase information. Okay. And once you have finished watching this video, I urge you to complete the Turnitin assignment number 2. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay. So give me a minute. There you go. So I'm sharing you my screen. This is where we are right now. Okay. So we started off this week on Monday, the 9th of March. We did the CRAP method. You watched the video, you reviewed the slide, and you completed the Google form. Thank you for all of you that did it. I really appreciate it. Okay. Then for Wednesday, March 11th, we're going to look at summarizing versus paraphrasing. You're going to watch this video, then you're going to review the slides and then complete the assignment. Okay. And the assignment is right here. Paraphrasing versus summarizing. Here is the Turnitin assignment. All you have to do is click on it. All right. And there's the assignment. The assignment says, read the following paragraph and summarize it. Cite and reference it in Vancouver style. There is the title of the article. Could organ transplant really help you live to 115? There is the author, Alexandra Patillo, published September 6, 2025. And the link to the full one is over there. So you have to use Vancouver. So I urge you to please go and back to your Vancouver style citation PowerPoint and information I've given you, review that, and then obviously you will know how to do the in-text citation and the works cited page, which is the reference page. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to jump over to my slides, my famous slides. Okay, over here. Okay, so the objective of the lecture today is to know the differences between paraphrasing and summarizing. Okay, what is the difference and when do we use them? So the first step is, why do we paraphrase and why does it matter? Why does it matter for us to know these skills? Well, first of all, when you're using work that is not your own, you have to be able to relate that work in your own words. So using your own words shows that you understand the material and that you're not just copy and pasting it. So you understand academic integrity. You also learn how to establish and develop your academic voice. You learn how to see information, understand it, and push it out into your own words. And that is a skill that you will practice until you are finished studying. And some of you will never finish it because you will be in jobs and continue your master's or your PhD. And this is a skill that you want to keep practicing, how to paraphrase, how to summarize. It also helps us to avoid plagiarism. And also it gives you better grades. The more I see that you're using your own voice and that you show me that you understand the text and you can explain it in your own words and connect it to your own argument, that shows me that you are learning and that you are moving up in your academic skills rather than just direct quoting all the time. So at a quick glance, you might think that paraphrasing and summarizing are the same, but they're actually quite different. Paraphrasing is if you have a sentence and you look at that sentence, you read it, you understand it, and you repeat that same sentence, but in your own words. Okay, so the length stays the same as the original. Every idea is kept. Word and structures change because now you're using your own words and you still need in-text citation. Whereas in summarizing it's if you have a whole paragraph or a whole book and you have to summarize it into 3 or 4 sentences. That's very different than paraphrasing. Okay. So that means in the summarizing, it's much shorter than the original. You only keep the main ideas, you remove the details, and you still do an in-text citation. Okay. All right. So at least now you see the quick glance at the differences. We're going to start off with paraphrasing. So paraphrasing is going to rewrite a source completely in your own words, but you keep the length and the idea the same. It is important. You don't want to change that, okay? So when do we paraphrase? We paraphrase to highlight the original idea. So when we're using an idea from an author, you want to capture a sentence from him or her. You take that sentence, and remember, you can always do direct quoting, right? But you cannot always do direct quoting. So what do? You capture it and you put it into your own words. You match your own argument and with emphasis and to provide a clear voice in your paper. There are 5 simple steps when you paraphrase. 5 simple steps. The first step is read the article, read the sentence that you want to use, and make sure that you understand it. Because once you understand it, then you can move on to step number 2. Oops, sorry about that. You can move over to step number 2, where you note the key terms, the key information. Now, you're going to write it in your own words. You're going to check you captured the intent, which means, does it have the same message as what the author was trying to convey? And then the last step is you add in-text citation. So let's look at an example that I've given you so that you understand what it means. So this is the original text. So the original text says, those whose self-esteem is low, okay, do not necessarily see themselves as worthless or wicked, but they seldom say good things about themselves. That's the original text, hence why there are quotes. All right. Now, I'm asking you to paraphrase it. Remember, the length needs to be the same. The information needs to be the same, but you are putting it in your own words. It says there, those whose self-esteem is low. Here I say, people with poor self-esteem. Do you see that? Same thing. What did I do? I just changed the wording. Do not necessarily see themselves. Do not inevitably view themselves, okay, as worthless or wicked, as evil or worthless. Okay, the same, but they seldom say good things about themselves. What did I say here? However, they rarely speak positively about themselves. So do you see? Paraphrasing, look at the original text, and then you stick to the same length. You change the wording because you're putting it in your own voice, but the information is exactly the same. And then, of course, we have our in-text citation. Very, very easy. Now, with paraphrasing, there are techniques that you can keep using to help yourself. And you're not going to use all of them all the time, but they are good to use, especially when you are stuck and when you see information and you want to use it, but you just don't know how. And, where do you start with it? So the first thing you do is, okay, you can do this technique. You can change the active to the passive voice. Most things are written in singular third person, okay? He, she, it. It's always written like that. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to change it into the passive. For example, the study found, that is active. You change it to, it was found by the study, and then you continue with the rest of the sentence. That is one technique, okay? The other technique you can use is, like we did in the exercise before, use similar words. We call them synonyms. So instead of saying seldom, you can say rarely. Instead of worthless, you can say of little value, okay? So you, I apologize. You replace the words with synonyms, all right? You can also use signaling verbs, such as the author argues, the author believes. in the study notes that, okay, according to the study. We've done this one before. All right. The other techniques you can use is you can merge two sources into one. All right. For example, you combine idea A and B into one clear sentence. Sometimes when you paraphrase, you see that there's an idea, there's a sentence that has one idea, then another sentence has another idea, but they're quite connected. Combine them into your own words. And that's also a form of paraphrasing. Okay. All right. Okay. Signaling verbs, your secret weapon. When you paraphrase, when you introduce an argument of an author, you can always use signaling words such as the author believes, or mayors believe, concludes, notes, or you show agreement, especially when your argument aligns with their argument. Then you say, you know, it demonstrates, it proves, the evidence show, this article supports, it verifies. Those are all agreement verbs, okay? If you disagree with the author, you can say the author overlooks this idea because, and you paraphrase, disregard, dismiss, underestimate. These are all the words you can use as signaling words, almost the same as transition, okay? But they're not transition words. Don't confuse them, but they are similar in the way that they are showing a connection between ideas. All right. Now let's move over to summarizing. Summarizing is by far harder than paraphrasing because summarizing, you can have a whole 5-page article and your job is to summarize it into a paragraph. That is hard, okay? So summarizing is condensing the main ideas of a source into a much shorter form. Again, your own words, okay? But your own words only matters. And just to have the main ideas, do not include details, all right? So the first step in summarizing is you erase what doesn't matter. So the first thing is delete details. Every word must have a meaning, okay? Every word must have a meaning. If you're explaining too much, delete the details. Get to the point. Delete what repeats. So anything that's redundant, delete it, all right? Trade specific for general. So when you read an article, you don't want to get, and you want to summarize, we don't care about the specific. You want to go into general. You want to get the overview of something. So you replace lists with subordinate terms, okay? You're not going to tell me about a UG student, APP student. No, you're going to say AUIS students. Okay, replace all of those words. So, for example, in your course reader, there is an article. It's by the JAMA article, all right? It's quite long. That article is super long. And I think it's about 1.5 pages or something like that. From that 1.5 pages, we've placed a summary for you there, all right? And that summary is quite short. I have tried to give you a bit of an example here. So for example, the original is quite long. By the way, it's more than this, okay? But we can say it's got many details, it's got a background. No, in a summary, we keep it very short and simple and give an overview. For example, JAMA's editor published an anonymous essay about a doctor's mercy killing. The decision, without verification or explanation, sparked debate on both the ethical acts and publishing standards. That's it. And I want you to go to your course reader, go to page, I think 128. There's this long article about the JAMA's JAM. That's the article. It's about 1.5 pages. From that, this is the summary we came up with. And it's supposed to be like that. So that's why I say summary are very hard. because you really need to understand to say which information can be removed, okay? By the way, I'm so sorry for the noise. I have birds in my house, and that's why they get excited and they start to chirp when I talk. So there are tips for writing a great summary, okay? The first tip is focus on main ideas only. Read an article and only highlight the main ideas. And it's usually, if you have a multi-paragraph article, it's usually the first topic sentence is the main ideas of each paragraph. That's where you highlight the main ideas, okay? Use reporting verbs, such as the author argues, Smith concludes, the study demonstrates, okay? One word over a list. So if it's listing a couple of things, but they fall under one general thing, replace it with one word. Don't let summary overwhelm you. Don't let it make you feel like you cannot use the information or it makes you no. Sometimes you just need to read one or two paragraphs. You pretty much know what the rest of the article will be about, and you stick to that and you summarize. Always cite your information. Even with summaries, we do in-text citation and a reference list. And the most important thing, and I think this is the hardest thing, is to keep the author's meaning. When an author has a specific argument and a stance and an intent, you want to keep that same voice in your summary, but in your own words. Okay? When to use a direct quote. Now, I don't want to go too much into details, but we have talked about this before, that when we do in-text citation, we can use direct quotes, right? So you can use a direct quote when the exact word matters legally or ethically, all right? The author's phrasing is uniquely mesmerable and you don't want to ruin it. You want to keep the authenticity. Changing the words would alter the meaning, or you're analyzing the language itself. All right. But we will say to you, avoid a direct quote when you can clearly paraphrase the information in your own words. So don't always do direct quoting. In fact, when we give you the writing assignment, we will tell you when is it okay to use a direct quote, when we want you to use paraphrasing. Okay. Do not quote longer than 1 to 2 sentences. I've told you maximum one sentence, especially when the wording is so profound and it's very memorable and you don't want to change the meaning, then you can use direct quote, but only limited to 1 to 2 sentences. You need to show your own understanding. You are in a natural scientific paper. Oh, by the way, certain studies and research departments, they do not accept paraphrasing, okay? Or they don't accept direct quoting. It's when you are in a natural science paper, they don't like direct quoting. You kind of have to use your own words, okay? All right. So paraphrasing versus summary versus quote. So let's look at them. They all share similar features such as length, idea, word, citation, and best for, okay? When do we paraphrase? So the first thing we're going to look at the paraphrasing is the length. So we say it's same as the original, but with summary, the length is shorter. Direct quote is the exact length and exact words. Ideas kept, meaning the idea, all ideas are kept in a paraphrase. Summary, remember we said main ideas only. Direct quote, the exact words, and that's why you use the quotation marks. Words. In paraphrasing, you use your own words. Summary, your own words. Direct quote, you use the author's exact words, okay? Citation. Do we use citation in paraphrasing? Yes, always. In summary, yes, always. Direct quote, yes, plus quotation marks, okay? When is it best for? Paraphrasing is best when you want to show deep understanding of something, all right? That's why we say we give better grades when you do paraphrasing. A summary is when you want to show an overview over a long text. And a direct quote is when something is very unique and unmovable phrasing, especially when somebody has made a profound statement and you don't want to ruin the meaning, then you use a direct quote. Okay. So here is a nice table to make you realize when is it appropriate to use this type of academic writing. All right. So how does it look different? So here we have the original sentence by Myers, okay, which we talked about before. So this is the original sentence, and I've given you what the paraphrase would look like, what the summary would look like, what the direct quote would look like, okay? So in her original, she says, those whose self-esteem is low do not necessarily see themselves as worthless or wicked, but they seldom say good things about themselves, all right? So the first thing we're going to look at is paraphrasing. So those, you can replace it with people. People who have poor sense of self-worth, which is the same as self-esteem is low, do not inevitably view themselves as evil. They do not necessarily see themselves as worthless or wicked. Wicked means evil, okay? Worthless, useless. Remember, you're using synonyms. However, but they rarely express anything positive about themselves, about who they are, but they seldom say good things about themselves. So that is a paraphrase. A summary. From the same, we did a summary. Myers notes that low self-esteem does not mean self-loathing, but does lead to rarely speaking well of oneself. So you cut out all of the other words that you do not need, okay? And a direct quote would be something like this. Myers found, remember those signaling words? Yes. Myers found that people with low self-esteem, open quote, seldom say good things about themselves. It says here, seldom says good things about themselves. Direct quote. So now you can see the differences between paraphrasing, summarizing, and direct quote. Okay? And it comes with practice. Here I've given you an example of that JAMA's JAM article on page 128 to 129, and this would be the summarized version, by the way. This is an appropriate summarized version. So you will see the article is quite long, but the summary is one small paragraph. Common mistakes to avoid. Patch writing. Yeah. What does patch writing mean? Well, changing only a few words while keeping the original structure, still plagiarism. So I know this sounds very contradictory, like I told you, oh, just replace. No, it's when you are copying the direct sentence and all you do is just move things around. That's patch writing. We are trying to avoid that, okay? Overquoting. When you're using too many direct quotes, makes it look like you don't understand the material. So I would say always limit your quotes to one sentence and one time in your writing. Summary without citation. Remember, if you don't cite, it is considered plagiarism. And when you summarize so badly that you start to lose the meaning. That's why I always say with summary, read the article, understand it, and then pretend as if you are explaining it to yourself. That explanation is the summary. But I understand that sometimes you have this academic expectation, so you start getting yourself caught up with words. No, first explain it to yourself exactly as you understand, write it like that. Then you go back in and you try then to make it more academic. It's that easy. It is that easy, trust me, okay? Don't overthink it too much. All right, we do not have group activity. So what is the main point here? We're looking at paraphrasing. Full idea, your words, same length, shows deep understanding. Summarizing, you're looking at the main points only. It's much shorter, shows you can identify what matters. Both always require in-text citation, even though they are your own words. Remember, the idea is not yours. Patch writing, swapping a few words is still plagiarism. So rewrite fully, okay? And direct quotes are rare tools. Use paraphrase or summary by default, okay? All right, now that you have watched this video, okay, the next step, I'm gonna stop sharing here. Now that you've watched the video, the next step is for you to go on to turn it to Moodle, okay? And there is a Turnitin assignment. Before you submit something, copy and paste it, all right? Do not use ChatGPT because I will catch it. Some of you have submitted that, by the way, in your first Turnitin assignment, and I was able to catch on to that, okay? So copy and paste this onto a Word document, read it, see how you understand it, type it out as you understand it in your own words. Then after that, you start fixing it up with academic words, making sure you have your signaling words, your transitions, your in-text citation. Once you are satisfied with everything, you check the spelling errors, punctuation, your in-text citation is correct, your reference list is correct, then you submit it into Turnitin. And in that way, you do not submit something that is faulty. Make sure that you use the Vancouver style, all right? So go back to the slides that I've shared with you before, check what Vancouver style entails, and make sure that you submit it that way. Vancouver should be super easy for you since you only have one source, all right? That is all for it today. I will be on March 11th online from 12:30 until 1:20. Come online. We can, if you have any questions for me, you want to discuss something, I'm very happy to be there. I've been online a few times and not many of you have come, and I don't know why. But do come tomorrow, 12:30 until 1:20. I'll be here to answer your questions. Okay? Thank you. Take care.